Hey guys, give me 1 second. Try to share the stream. See if my mic's working, all that kind of stuff. Share the stream. All right, cool. Looks like my mic's working. Give this a quick share. Quick. How you guys doing today? I finally have some time to go over some stuff, so excited to be sharing with you guys what I'm going to be doing. Give me a second. All right. Hold on. Sorry, it's a surprise stream, guys. So if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. So another disclaimer, guys. If you're not watching this live and you're watching it from a recording after, I always speed up my videos because I talk really slow. So sorry about that, guys. That's just the way I talk. So give me one more moment. Okay. All right. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of different topics today. As you can see, I have like 50 tabs open. So I've been stocking up on everything that I've been wanting to talk about. So hopefully I'll be able to get everything I want said today. I have maybe an hour or two to explain everything. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know in the chat. I will be answering any questions you guys have, or even when you have comments later, I'll be sure to answer them. So, last video, I talked about Edward Riordan and his couple of videos. Hopefully, I'll get to the next. He made 4 videos of the same session. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, check it out on my channel in the live tab. It was my last live session called The End of Tribulation. Rapture is imminent. And basically, Edward Riordan was talking about how if you haven't heard me talk about him, also check out my remote viewing QAnon videos. There's 3 videos. They're really long but very informative about more of the kind of the bigger picture, like the kind of the spiritual I would say timeline that we're on right now. I'm always looking for the bigger picture and things. I'm not someone that reacts to every single day of what the narrative is at the moment, what the mainstream media is trying to spin at the moment. So I'm always looking for the broader picture, and I always have in mind all the other puzzle pieces that I've collected over the years, and then when a new puzzle piece arrives in our present time, because like I'm future man, right? Like I'm always looking towards the future. um I don't know if a lot of people do that, but I'm always looking ahead to see what's coming, so when it comes I'm not surprised and I'm not reacting to what's going on, like the whole like World War III developments and all that stuff. Like I don't care because I obviously it was already coming. Like it should be obvious if you're looking towards the future. Okay. So, keeping that in mind, now we're getting to the next big mark in the prophecy timeline, where when my very first video that I started on my channel was called The Great American Eclipse, which happened in 2017 in August. Okay, so this is now 2024, 7 years later. So this is the 7 year mark of when tribulation would have begun. Okay. So in April 8th this year, there's going to be another giant solar eclipse, which if you put the two eclipses together, it actually makes a giant X on on the United States. And so as you can see, there's a lot of, you could call it subliminal messaging. A lot of people call it predictive programming, but I believe the if you want to call it the universe, you could call it God. Is you could say it's 5D chess that God is playing here, and He's ultimately pulling all the strings. And so if He says, "Oh, there's a 7 year timeline of tribulation where all these events are supposed to occur during that time," then he the way the signs that he shows, we're always asking for a sign. This is the biggest sign he could give the whole world, because obviously solar eclipses happen where everyone can see them, right? So it's without a doubt a sign. And if you read in the book of Genesis, that's exactly what he says. He says, I the signs will be in the heavens, right? The heavens or the sky. So this is our giant sign of an X. And if you could say, oh, it's predicted programming, that Twitter is now X, and there's like SpaceX, there's all kinds of X um just I don't know what it is with X, but obviously, like when you see all these the way my mind works is, you see what normal people would consider coincidences, right? Like, oh, it's everyone's, for some reason X is such a big deal this year, right? Um, to me, it's not coincidences. It's like 5D chess that God is playing. And so all these X's are supposed to be signaling to your subconscious to be like, hey, folk, pay attention to the X that's coming up, which will be the solar eclipse, which marks the 7 year tribute end of tribulation. Maybe not the very end, but it's basically saying, hey, this is like your 5 minute mark to put down your pen and paper. The test is about to end. Okay. All of this, everything that we're doing here is a giant test. Okay, that's the way I see it. People think we're here to get rich, get famous, whatever, find happiness, all that stuff, right? The way I think and believe is, I believe that I'm eternal, meaning I live forever. Okay, my spirit lives forever. Yes, my body here might die, which I consider my character, which a lot of people will call your ego, right? So your character here will die, but your spirit will live on forever, right? We're all just energy, right? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Okay. So I cannot be destroyed. So I live on forever as a whatever that energy is. You call it light, right? What is Christ? The light. So what does Christ do? The light saves us, right? We are the light. We are saved, as in a player is saved in a game. You ever save a character in a video game, right? That's the same kind of concept. Where our character, our person, who we are, our spirit is saved, literally. So we continue on. Okay, so that's the game I'm playing. I'm playing uh, thousands, a million year game. Okay, where I'm like, okay, the the world that we know will continue. Okay, I don't believe, like, even like it says, even in the even if the earth and the heavens will melt away, the God's word will still be fulfilled, right? So that's in my mind. Even if, say, World War III happens, we all blow each other up, the world gets destroyed. We live in a post-apocalyptic world where there's just radiation fallout for 100 years. The world will continue, and life will find a way, and or we will enter a parallel dimension, a parallel timeline, which what I believe is actually what rapture is that, like, what Jesus left a lot of hints about what rapture really means. And he says, in my Father's house, which is this universe, okay, the whole this whole place, it's his house, right? This is everything that he's created, right? So he says there's many mansions, okay? I believe that when people were listening to Christ, and you could even read the end of the book of Revelation where it says, not even there wouldn't be enough room to hold all of the books that would contain everything that Christ said during this time here. That there would be no room to contain everything that he said. So this is like everything that the apostles wrote down was like basically from memory, right? Like they're not walking around with like phones and like a microphone and a recording, right? They're not like recording. They're just trying to like jot down, and this might be like years, months, weeks later, right? Where they're like, I'm trying to remember what this guy said, right? And that's why we have like different accounts where if you put the accounts next to each other, a lot of them tell a different story, or the story is slightly different from what the other apostle said, right? So like I'm saying he said a lot of things, and people are like, "What the heck?" Because like, what does it mean? Okay, so if the universe is God's house, then what does it mean? There's many houses, there's many mansions, right? I'm I think that's the clue. Mansion is really dimension, right? There's many dimensions in God's house. Okay, so I mean, I don't think there's literally like four, 3-story houses where where we all like live, right? That's kind of silly, right? I think we all just have like a bunch of like how like a suburban area where God had places all his people, right? Like it's kind of weird to even imagine what that would look like, right? So I think what Christ was really saying, and obviously Christ is very, very advanced, right? And I believe God uses is a scientist and a mathematician, and so everything eventually, all these miracles and things will eventually be explained by science. Okay, obviously we're not there yet, right? But I think science is ultimately trying to reveal or find out what God's powers are, right? Like how does God create? How does God do this and that, right? Just like Christ was the alchemist, he turned water into wine, right? To the simple mind, you just say, "Oh, it's a miracle, like magic," right? But we don't believe in magic, right? We don't believe he had a wand or like said a magical spell, right, to change this water into wine. I think he actually knows chemistry, right? He actually did it through by using chemistry, right? So he was like super advanced scientist, you could say, right? And he knew how to control the elements and all that stuff, right? So that's that's kind of how my mind works. So, anyways, bringing it back to this, as you can see, April 8th will be the next total solar eclipse, right? If you look at other maps, the X will come across like this, and it actually will land in in a in a heavy earthquake zone. So when it says, oh, when basically when the two witnesses, right, when they are killed or whatever, like that's when maybe the earthquake happens. And it says like what 7,000 people die or some giant earthquake, right? And like Christ said, there'll be two in the field, and one will be taken up and one left behind. I don't think there's actually two people because think about it. Like, does every field will every field or every? Yeah, I think he's using it in like a uh he talks a lot of parables, right? Like there's two in a field. I'm thinking that there's not actually two people there, but it's like the two um kind of like the two parts of yourself. Like the rapture will take your you could say your spirit or whatever and leave your body behind, right? And then you go into the next dimension because what does it say? We will all be translated in the blink of an eye. So when these things happen, we won't even know it because we will literally blink and it would have already happened. So we will enter a new timeline. This is why I don't subscribe to doom and gloom type of scenarios because if you want to choose, just like when 923 happened, and again, if you don't know about 923, watch all my videos. Okay, talk a lot about it. Um, when I said 923 would happen this way, I was saying that since I am the one choosing this path and choosing this way for it to happen, then it will happen this way. So I believe it's the same thing here. Like if you're subscribing to the doom and gloom, like everyone's gonna die, I'm gonna be saved, forget this world, blah 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 blah. Like if you're subscribing to like that kind of thing where it's like, oh, because I've seen a lot of Christians, like a lot of them, and for some reason the doom and gloom kind of influencers or like pastors and like priests and things like that constantly preach about doom and gloom scenarios and kind of like almost wish and pray for it to happen. Like that's very popular in Christendom right now. um but like I'm saying, like if that's what you want to happen, I feel like God's gonna grant you your wish, so you're gonna like stay in the timeline where that happens. Okay, I'm saying I am subscribing to a higher frequency, a higher timeline where things will happen the way it is written. Like I said, God's word will be fulfilled, but there's going to be sort of a twist to it. It's not going to happen exactly the way most people think it's going to happen. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into that sort of thing. Okay. Okay. So moving on. This is one of my posts. Pattern recognition and data gathering is all you need to see the future. Okay. I post a lot of things like this on my Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So please follow me on there if you want to see more stuff because I post more there than I obviously post on YouTube. I I haven't done YouTube that much, and I'm sorry for that, guys. But honestly, I'm very busy, and it's kind of like, dude, this is like the end. This is like the end of the test. And so if you haven't been listening to what I've been saying this whole time, then it's almost like if you don't want to help yourselves, I can't help you. I'm just putting this information out there. I'm obviously not very popular, or my message doesn't get shared around a lot, right? I don't go viral. I'm obviously blacklisted on YouTube and most of these social media platforms. Okay. So, like, you know, and but I appreciate the people that do spend the time to listen to my videos. I really do appreciate you guys. And even if even if like a handful of you actually listen and like take to heart what I'm saying, I think that is all of this has been worth it. Like, even if one of you, right? Like, then my mission is accomplished, okay? Because what I'm looking for, I'm not looking for the masses, okay? I'm not looking for the ones that are going to get left behind, okay? I'm looking for the elect. I'm looking for the tippity top kinds of souls that want to like that have that long time preference of like, hey, I'm immortal, like I'm eternal. I'm gonna be around for a million years. I'm gonna keep playing this game over and over and over, and it's gonna advance in different levels, different stages, and it's like this level is ending. Okay, what I call 3D, the third level, where um this polarity of white and dark, evil and good, like is being played out dramatically here, right? But then the next level is the way to pass this level is you need to have love. Okay, that's the minimum requirement. You have to have love, which is why Jesus came and performed the deepest love ritual of all time, right? What did he say? He said, "Whoever gives their life, for others, it's the deepest love you can give," right? So he performed the greatest love of all time, and so he was the first to pass the test, and then he paved the way, and he said, "Hey, since I passed this test, this is the minimum requirement. The only commandment." What did they say? What's the greatest commandment? He said, "Love one another as I have loved you, and love your Father in heaven with all your heart," right? That's it. It's just love. That's the only commandment. Okay. The only commandment is love, because when you love, all the other commandments ultimately fall in place, right? Like, if you love, you're not going to kill each other. You're not going to steal from each other. You're not going to lie to each other. You're not going to commit adultery. You're not going to, do all those things, right? So when you're on that love timeline, that love path, then it's a universe. The universal rules become by default your part of your personality, or part of your soul, part of your spirit, whatever. Okay, so it's like, um shoot, did I did I share this? Oh my god, let me, I don't know if I shared my post. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure that I shared it. um but like, so like that's the minimum, right? So Jesus gave us the minimum thing, and he said that's all you have to do is love. All right, that's it. And then you guys are good. That's all you have to do. Sorry, I'm posting it right now. Okay. And if you guys want to post, feel free to, please get the message out there. Okay. Anyways, sorry to go on tangent. Um, so pattern recognition and data gathering is all you need to see the future. That's looking for signs. Everyone's always looking for signs, right? And I think every day they're signs, and I'm going to go over what I see. Okay, if you were me in my shoes, I'm trying to walk you down what I'm seeing. Okay. Um, someone asked me a question in chat. They said, "Hey, it's good to see you, jaded and outside the walls, cryptocurrency 33." He says, "Do you have any ideas about the event on the Super Bowl?" Well, uh, obviously, every year it's the same old thing. So like, I don't even research it at all. Like I haven't watched sports in years. Okay, like like literally like 20 years. Okay, I don't watch that stuff because obviously there's a lot of ritualistic witchcraft going on and stuff. Like you can look at all the Super Bowls, right? Everyone always brings up these Super Bowls, and they're talking about, oh, there's all this rituals going on and this witchcraft. It's all to mesmerize us. It's all to to be focused on the witchcraft, right? Like it's a spell. So I don't look at it. Like I don't even look at it. So, but obviously it's gonna be the same old thing, right? So we have Taylor Swift, okay, who is, I believe she's a high level witch. Okay, I'm not gonna go into that tangent conspiracy, but there's a lot of info out there if you want to know. Okay, I think her music is very hypnotic, and probably there's tons of subliminal messaging in there. So obviously I don't listen to any, you know, I don't watch any sports. I don't listen to any mainstream music because it's all tuned frequencies to mess with your mind. Okay, your mind is like a, a radio receiver and transmitter. Okay, and they constantly bombard us through radio, through music, through TV, through all these things, right? It constantly bombards your brain, where if you don't have the right defenses, if you want to look up my video, The Full Armor of God, I can teach you how to put up a defense where you won't be hypnotized. They can't throw spells at you. They can't. Everything gets reflected back. Okay, you have the full armor of God. No one can touch you. No one can hurt you. No one can mess with you. Okay, so look up that video. It's on my channel. But like I said, I don't even I don't even go there anymore. Okay, I don't listen to any of that crap. It's all just hypnotic music designed to um, designed to make you an NPC. Basically, I want to be a character. Okay, I am the main character in my story. You don't want to be an NPC in another character's story, right? So that's the way I think. So I post here: the only truths are metaphysical truths. Okay, when people think of truth, I get this a lot when I'm trying to talk to people about truth. They say, "Well, truth is subjective, and it's whatever your truth is what matters." Okay, and we can see the results of that line of thinking, right? We can see the results in our world today, where it's like anyone can just believe whatever truth they want, and then everyone has to accept it, right? Like people have to accept each other's pronouns, even though the truth, the literal truth, will state otherwise. We have to accept that subjective reality, right? So what I'm saying is like the higher truth, the truth that is eternal, those are the truths that matter. Those are the truths that I go after. Those are the truths that I seek, is the higher levels of truth. Okay. There things might be true here on the third level. Okay. But when you go to the fourth, fifth, sixth level, there's higher truths that supersede the lower truth. Just like when Moses made the 10 commandments, right? Those were the truth at the time. Those were like that was the low level truth where it's like, don't kill each other. Duh, 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 duh. But it's like if you follow the higher truth, which is love, which is Christ's truth, right? Then it's like you don't even need to like even know about those lower truths because it's like you're already living a higher truth. And so you're already living better than what those commandments are, right? Because it's like the commandments, it's like they're telling you things which you shouldn't do. But like a higher truth would be like, this is what you should do. Okay, you should love each other. You should so if you love each other, it's not just like the base level default of like don't kill each other. Like that's a given. Like someone that loves wholeheartedly is never going to think about killing someone anyway. So like you don't even have to mention that to someone. Be like, oh, don't kill someone. It's like, duh, right? Like I'm on a higher level of understanding and truth here. Obviously, that's a bad idea, right? Because what's the laws of thermodynamics, right? Is every action there's opposite and equal reaction. So if you kill someone, then that there's going to be an action that will come back to you, right? So like either you go to jail for your life, right? Or you get on the electrical chair and you lose your life, right? Or like if you believe in karma and stuff, like eventually the you'll have to pay for your sins, right? So I'm saying like you gotta if you're on the higher path, you don't even have to pay attention to these lower vibrational events and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Um, all right. So anyways, moving on. 2020 website. My Twitter handle is futureman19. Okay. Made it real easy for you guys. Okay. Um, so I thought this was interesting. If you guys haven't been following what's happening in Germany, and I think it's happening in other places around the world, that the farmers have revolted against the government, and this has been going on for like months, where they're basically they've taken all their farming equipment and they're basically sitting outside their whatever you call it, their government buildings and stuff, and just been hanging out and like see like this is crazy. Like this is going on. Obviously, the mainstream media is not picking this up, but like and there's tons of these videos, tons of these pictures. I only chose a couple, but as you can see, it's really happening, and it's kind of crazy because it's like in the past, generally, a revolution is like people are up in arms with like guns and or whatever, trying to overthrow the government. But here we have a bunch of farmers, and to to the NPC, this should be like, oh, that's interesting, right? But like to someone who's looking for the signs, right? Someone who's uh, looking for having a pattern recognition, right? I think it's fulfilling this prophecy in Isaiah 2, talking about the end times, right? And Isaiah is saying, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares. So I've always found this verse interesting because I was like, what does that actually mean? Like, are they like, are they literally taking their swords? Because this is like the end time. So like obviously people don't have swords anymore, right? Um, and I don't think they'll have swords in the future. So if he's talking about the future in our present times, where the end times is talking about, right? The literal cycle of time ending in a new cycle beginning, right? The age of Aquarius, the water bearer, but Christ's return symbolizes he's the water bearer, right? So I think he is it's sort of an analogy where he's saying whatever their weapons of war are actually they're using it as their plowshares, which is plowshares is farming equipment, right? Like that's what they do to till the ground and all that stuff to plow the fields, right? And that's exactly what's going on in Germany, which I think is an actual fulfillment of this prophecy. Because I've always been looking for this one. I was always very curious of how this was going to happen, and it's like I said, there's going to be a twist. Like the words are going to be fulfilled, but there's a twist in the way that we generally as Christians don't get, because we have to keep an open mind about these things, right? Like no one uses swords anymore, right? So it's like instead of using he's just saying instead of using a weapon, we are using our farming equipment to rise against the government, right? So this is the literal fulfillment of it. So that's why you see these weird things happening, and the NPC would be like, oh, that's just a coincidence. Oh, it doesn't mean anything. What are you talking about? Blah blah blah, right? So another prophecy you could check off off the list of end times prophecies being fulfilled. So yeah, um, let's see here. I have a lot of tabs open. I forgot a lot of the stuff that I've opened to share. What is this? I don't even know why. Let me see. Google research really just casually dropped a paper suggesting that real diagnosis from a human doctor is more likely to kill than using just strictly AI. Not using AI at all is costing lives, and B, using a human at all is costing lives. So this guy's making the argument that AI is already kind of taken over, and that goes with my personal prophecy of when I think is my video, the eighth and final beast, where I'm saying and I made that in like 2022, I think it was like 2022, where I was saying by 2023 AI is going to start taking over, which coincidentally, if you're an NPC, um, open AI and like AI and even robots and all that kind of stuff is literally taking over. And now they're saying, hey, actually these AI are better than doctors now, even. And this is just the very beginning, right? So like here we go. Elon Musk posted this. This is a Tesla robot. As you can see, AI is already happened, which I prophesied would happen. And yeah, it's pretty crazy how it's developing here. Oh, so yeah. Yep. Another prophecy down, right? These are the images of the beast that I was talking about in the book of Revelation, where it's like I've been saying this for years actually. Like I think I've been posting about it since like 2018 about the image of the beast being an AI, right? Because the image should give it power that it should both, you know, that it should speak and see and talk, right? Like, and that's exactly what's happening. Like, OpenAI, it can speak to you, it can also hear you, um, and now it's able to move, right? So when I say AI, I just talk about it being like the general sense of AI, not like it doesn't have to be anything like specific. Like it doesn't have to be specifically Tesla's robot or whatever. Which I don't think I posted a link, but like interestingly enough, Elon Musk also has now already started testing his Neuralink inside people's head. It's like a chip that you implant in someone's forehead, um, which I guess the use case is just it's supposed to enhance your brain. Maybe like instead of having an open AI on your phone, it's like it's kind of like already connected to your brain. So he's already posted that they've been live testing this Neuralink stuff. So like, is Elon Musk one of these players? Um, hmm, is that the mark of the beast? Like the way I think of the mark of the beast, it's something that has developed over time for like thousands and thousands of years, and it's just like finally culminating into this kind of final product where it's literally something that's implanted in your brain. Okay, but like this mark has been here since the times of Adam. Okay, this was the mark that Cain received for killing his brother. That was the first mark, the first version of it, and you could say the version has been beginning upgraded and upgraded and upgraded for thousands of years. But now we're like in this time where it's almost like being upgraded every like 6 months. Okay, especially during the 7 year time period where it's like I think the final version comes in this 7 years, right? And then whoever has it, obviously something happens. I think it's because it says like they're tormented by like the sun, right? So I think after a while they have this in their head, and the sun, re- they have a reaction to it where it starts causing them sores and all this pain and stuff, right? So here's another video of it moving and stuff. So I mean, like I said, it's coming. It's already here. This is just the beginning. This was the day after September 23 that he posted this. So yeah, it's already doing a lot of stuff. Here's more prophecies, right? So again, this is SpaceX is Elon Musk's company, and the prophecy that there'll be says some like silence. There'll be silent. The stars will fall from heaven, and there'll be silence for about 30 minutes. So like I'm thinking these are called Starlink, right? John saying, "Hey, the stars are going to fall from heaven." Star link, right? These are the stars. He's seen this. Okay, he doesn't know what the heck a satellite is, or who Elon Musk is, or SpaceX, or blah blah blah. He just sees, hey, here's the world that I know. There's all these little dots, right? They all look. If you're a primitive person, you'd be like, those are stars, right? Because they're outside the Earth. They're lighting up the Earth. They look like little dots, right? And he says they're going to fall from heaven, and there'll be silence for the space of like half an hour. It says, okay, so that's like, oh, the internet goes down, and so there's going to be silence. All the satellites are going to go down, and they're going to look like stars. When it happens, they're going to look like stars, like falling stars. It's going to be literally like right now. They said there's 4,000, right? It's in August 2023. 4,000. I'm sure there's way more now. So when they fall, it's going to look like thousands of falling stars all at once, right? And then there's going to be silence because there's going to be no chatter, no space chatter up there, right? Everything's going to fall down. Here's more, just more stuff. Here's the rockets going up, right? And interestingly enough, he calls his rocket like dragon, right? There's also the it talks about in the book of Revelation of how the dragon, right? It's always a dragon kind of talk. So it's like a lot of this stuff is actually fitting pretty nicely. A lot of these prophecies are fitting pretty nicely with what Elon Musk is doing, which is kind of crazy. Um, yeah, and just like I said, like without the mark, you can't buy or sell, right? Then you couldn't buy, you couldn't go in some places, you couldn't go to stores and buy things, and then if you didn't have it, you would lose your job. So which means you couldn't sell things. So, like I said, it's always a progression because a lot of people underestimate what Satan can do. And he's always changing the game. He's always upgrading his weapons, right? He's always constantly finding new vectors to attack you. So when you think it's one thing, when you say, okay, this person is the Antichrist and this is the mark, then all right, I've already figured it out, right? So when you think that way, and you don't keep an open mind about things, then that's the attack vector that he has on you. You're not humble, right? You're not humble anymore. You say, "Oh, I know now, so I don't need to try to figure it out anymore. I'm already safe." Blah blah blah, right? You're not staying humble. So then he finds another way to attack you because a lot of people would be like, "Oh, this person, oh, Obama was the Antichrist, so there can't be anyone else, or the Antichrist isn't here yet." Blah 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 blah, right? And it's just like I said, there's all these signs here. All right, look at all the signs, right? There's always signs to point you in the right direction. And yeah, here's the dragon, right? So a lot of it's almost like a lot of people call it predictive programming, but like it's either or that like this is the 5D chess being played by God, right? Or it's like these people are so like they're basically mocking God, right? And saying, "Oh, like I'm gonna I'm gonna do all these things that says in the Bible." Like either they don't believe it and they think it's a bunch of nonsense, or they're just mocking God and being like, "I'm gonna do it anyways because there is no God and no one's gonna punish me for doing this." So they do it anyways. Um, Mr. Beast. So like he's a interesting character in this timeline. Um, is he a part of the what's going on? Like I find it interesting. I think Mr. Beast is like the twist. I think he's one of the twists. Like if you actually go back and you watch his really his videos from like when he first started. If you always looked at his YouTube banner, he always had like a scripture on there and like the cross was on there, and he was very upfront about being a Christian. Like there was always like a Christian scripture, like he always put Christ in the forefront. So he's definitely a Christian. He's definitely someone who believes in Christ. And I haven't really seen anything to suggest otherwise. But this is like the twist that I'm talking about. Okay. I mean, like I said, you have to stay humble or you can fall. You can still fall. Satan will still look for attack vectors to get you. So maybe he's been compromised. I don't know. I'm not going to say either way, but I'm just bringing it up because it's an interesting point that I think the beast, like if we were already translated within a blinking of an eye and we're already raptured into a different timeline, a different dimension, right? Um the beast is now turned into Mr. Beast. And it's like he's taking over he's taking over the world, but it's like it's not such a bad world. Like the words will still be fulfilled, as in this beast rises up, right? And so, but it's like it's not like a bad thing, right? It's not like it's not really that bad. And but I do think it's interesting also, though, that it's like in the Bible it says, that this beast will perform miracles for the world. And here we go. Like Mr. Beast is actually somewhat mimicking Christ, where he is actually he's performing the same exact miracles that Christ performed. Isn't that interesting, right? Like here he is in this video. He's giving 1,000 deaf people their hearing back. So I mean, I don't know how much Christ healed people's ears to hear, right? I don't know how many he did. There's maybe only like a couple of accounts in the Bible. So like is is Mr. Beast like outperforming Christ in his miracles? It would seem that way, wouldn't it? Like, and is this like something that he's planned, or is he just generally wanting to help people? And is he generally, since he like has this history of really believing in Christ, is he like not like mimicking Christ in a mocking way, or like an evil with evil intentions? It's almost like he he actually is trying to be like Christ and be like, helping people. I don't know. Okay, it's kind of on the fence right now. Um, of what I think about that. I'm still looking for more signs, but it is interesting how it says in the book of Revelation that this beast will be performing miracles, the same miracles as Christ, which a lot of people would attribute that to that person being the Antichrist, right? Um, but it's like I don't know. There's still I'm still leaving it up in the air. Okay, and then also he's helped 1,000 blind people see for the first time the same miracles that Christ performed. Right? Isn't that interesting? Like like I mean, if we're on the better timeline, and there has to be a beast character, right? And he has to be super influential, right? This beast is like it's either like everyone loves him, everyone hates him kind of thing. Like he's almost like the most popular person in the world. You know, like when people watch his videos, like hundreds of millions of people watch it. And I would say even probably billions of people know who he is. So he's definitely like I don't know, yeah, I don't even know, maybe like top 50 people in the world that's like the most known person, like the most known about. And so it's like he definitely would fit the description of the beast, right? Of how it's like the whole world is like wondering after him, is kind of like in awe of him, right? And a lot of people that want to be him. Like he gives lots of money. He does a lot of charity work. He gives a lot of money away, and nothing against that. Like I don't think any of that's evil. I don't think helping 1,000 blind people see for the first time is evil, right? There's no way it can be evil, but it is interesting how he is literally named Mr. Beast, and he has hundreds of millions of subscribers, and he's performing miracles just as Christ did. And yeah, it's definitely a sign. There's some kind of sign here, right? Like, are we in the better timeline where the beast is not this scary, like seven-headed, creature? Like, could he now be fulfilling that role? And in doing so, fulfilling the words, right? The words will have to be fulfilled, and he is fulfilling them. But since we are on the higher timeline where the world is not going to end and billions of people die, instead of that, this is what we get in place of that. So if that's the case, I will take it. Okay, I will I will accept that. All right. Like I said, this is chapter 13 in Revelation, talking about the beast. So keeping my eyes and ears open about that. So another post by me. The timeline is altered by prayer. Will you pray now? I hope you guys are still praying. Um, there's something about prayer that is very powerful. I've had a lot of prayers answered throughout my whole life, and every time it's been a miracle. Where it's like I don't even, I don't even I don't even doubt it anymore. Like, it's not even a doubt. So like when I pray, I really pray. It's not like this standard prayer that I recite over and over, the same thing over and over and over, right? It's like I'm really meaning it. And so when I really mean it, it's like it comes true. And so when I pray, I only pray if only when I really, really mean it and I really, really want it to happen. And then it generally does. And so the, the prayer is very powerful. I hope you're all praying. Um, this timeline that we're in, like I said, I'm shooting for the highest timeline. And the timeline that I am focusing on right now, okay, is I've been coincidentally there's been a huge court case happening in the UK. If you guys haven't heard about it, if you guys heard of Bitcoin, there's a creator of Bitcoin. He's has remained anonymous for like 15 years. No one knows who he is, but there's a court case happening going on right now that's going to be happening through this whole month and should be finalizing in March about who the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi Nakamoto is the anonymous creator of Bitcoin. So this man named Craig Wright is being sued by basically all the top crypto companies, including Facebook was in the mix. Jack Dorsey from Twitter, the founder of Twitter, also like Coinbase, Kraken, like if you put all their market cap together, it would be almost $1 trillion worth of market cap from all these companies put together, and they're all suing one man to try to, because this Craig Wright, he's been saying he's Satoshi Nakamoto, and finally they're suing him to say, prove it, basically, right? So there's a lot, and I think this is the outcome of this court case will affect our world greater than anyone alive right now will be able to imagine. I think if this all goes the way it should, if we're on the right timeline, then if he wins and he retains the rights to Bitcoin and all that stuff, then I believe our world will change greatly and the future will be extremely bright. It'll be a future. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I believe that will be our future, where it will catapult our civilization, say within like 100 years from now, that we will be traveling the stars and we'll have multiple civilizations throughout throughout the solar system, and then eventually entering the galaxy. Why do I think that? Well, what did Christ say? The root of all evil. The root of all evil is money, right? What does Bitcoin do? Bitcoin takes the evil out. So it's just money. Bitcoin fixes a lot of our problems. And this is a whole subject that could go on for hours. But to summarize it, if you take what the government spends on wars and all the audits that they fail, like some more infamous audits that they failed is like the day before 9/11, the the Pentagon was audited and they failed their audit and they said, "Oh, we're missing $2 trillion or something like that." A, a ginormous amount of money, like an incredible amount of money. And then 9/11 happened the next day, and then everyone black holed that event and forgot about it, right? Swept it under the rug. So they got away with it, right? And that's happened several times throughout throughout our history. And so with the Bitcoin blockchain, you would it has a triple entry account system. So like right now, the reason people fail audits is because they're allowed to keep their own bookkeeping, right? Like every company, every government, everyone has their own set of books. That's why they always say, "Oh, they're cooking the books or they're tampering with the books," and that's how money gets laundered. That's how these you know, black secret, programs happen within the government. That's how money gets lost. That's how these wars happen. That's how all this crazy evil stuff is happening. But if everything was filtering through the blockchain, then everyone that has access, and anyone can is allowed access to the Bitcoin blockchain. Anyone could just look at it at any time. You don't need any special permission to look at it. So everyone will have an open book, so to speak, of where all the money's going. So there would be no more lying, there'd be no more deceit, no more hiding where this money is being spent. All that money that's going to Ukraine, everyone's like, where's it going? Like, why are all these Ukrainian politicians suddenly have multiple mansions throughout the world? Why are they receiving all this money? Like, if it was all filtered through the blockchain, then you would automatically know where it's going because it's public, it's open, it's fully audible. So that's just a small that's just a small sneak peek of how it could change. But there's a limitless amount of ways it could change the world. So, like, another big thing, Bitcoin is important because it helps the whole world collaborate together. It helps it basically, if everyone, so say for instance, so right now the truth is, in this third level, that there's companies, right? The reason people have companies is so, like, a lot of legal reasons why, but like, so they get, they're supposed to manage their money through this company and blah 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 blah, right? And we can invest in these companies, right? So you can invest in Tesla, you can invest in Microsoft or whatever, right? But like, the concept of Bitcoin is that if anyone can create using Bitcoin, anyone could be an innovator on Bitcoin, anyone could be an inventor or creator or whatever using Bitcoin. So the way I think about it is that if you invest in Bitcoin, you're investing in an unlimited amount of companies, because everyone that's involved in that network, the more people that join, the bigger it grows, and the more innovation happens, and the more economy economies start to grow, and it's all with on the Bitcoin blockchain. So it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing, where eventually people won't need companies anymore. People won't need all these things. There will be no such thing as shell companies and all this BS, corrupt kind of ways to deal with things. There's no more hiding taxes like Google does in offshore accounts, billions of dollars, blah 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 blah, right? Everyone will be on the Bitcoin blockchain. And so it will it will 100 times the creative potential of the human race, because everyone will be working together instead of, like, right now it's like, I hate it because it's like, I have an Android phone, my wife has an iPhone, and it's like, I can never send her videos, she can never send me videos, because if we do, it gets like, for some reason they made it where it's like a walled garden kind of thing, where if I send her a video to her iPhone, it goes through their filtering system where the quality automatically gets compressed, so they're always really crappy images and files. And the same thing if she sends me, like, it gets all muddled, because it's like, that's the way they built it, because they want you to just be like, they want you to be only an iPhone user, or they only want you to be an Android user. And so you have these companies that are basically trying to, keep all their users, and like, I gotta keep them, like, like Facebook and like all this stuff, like, I gotta keep them within my walls, like, and I gotta keep them here as much as possible. But with Bitcoin, everyone, it's like everyone's part of the same economy. It doesn't matter if you're in China and I'm in US, we're all a part of it. It doesn't matter if you have this company or that company. It will be all open, and everyone will be working together. Instead of being in competition, we'll be in collaboration. That's like the future, is the way I see it, is the Star Trek future, where it's like everyone's working together, and then eventually it's like, we'll solve all these problems so quickly and so effectively that, where, you could really unleash the unlimited potential of the human race. You could unleash your creativity. The problem with, like, like, what's going on with millennials right now, or Zoomers, or I think it's Zoomers, right? That's what they call them. Um, Not millennials, but like the Zoomers, the newest generation, and they're all like making all these videos that are saying, like, I don't want to work. This 9 to 5, like, what's the point? Like, we've all seen everyone get screwed over in the end when they retire at 60 years old. They Social Security is not working, their pensions are all gone, all this kind of crazy stuff, right? It's like, why are we doing this? Why, like, how does this make sense? And it's like the only reasons we've ever heard growing up is like, oh, that's just the way it is. Like, that's just the way the world works. But it's like, why does the world have to work that way? Why can't we change it? So, like, this is what I think Bitcoin is that change that we've been hoping for, praying for. I've been praying for. Okay. So it's like it has the technology to change the world because it ultimately fixes the money problem, where it's like we we don't have to fight against this inflation and these central banks anymore. It's like it just fixes so many things. And Craig Wright I believe he's an actual altruist, meaning like he built it Bitcoin with the intention of fixing all of these problems that he sees. And if you actually study him and listen to what he says, it is very future speak. Like, a lot of people don't understand the future, which is why they are constantly fighting. It's like people hate change, right? I don't know why, but like generally people do not like change, even though the change is better. The change is progress. It's like people accept that notion where it's like, oh, that's just the way things are. But like the way things are wasn't that way 100 years ago or 1,000 years ago. So obviously things change and it's not always the way things are, right? So things can actually change. And we're in that timeline where everything's changing. We're changing into a new cycle. We're going to the next level. And there will be people that are left behind because they don't want to change. They don't want to humble themselves. They don't have an open mind. They they want to just just stay like freaking like dust on the shelf, man. They don't want to move. They don't want to progress. So it's like, to me, we don't need you. We don't need you in the future. You're gonna be left behind. Okay, there'll be two in the field. You'll be gone. You'll be left. I'll be in the future. Okay. Anyways, let me continue here. Okay, so like, um, this is what this is what I think John the Revelator in the Book of Revelation, when he talks about the dragon. Okay, I think the dragon ultimately represents the power of the United States. And so, like, when he sees these creatures rising out of the sea, so the world obviously is full of water. It's mainly water, right? It's mainly the sea. And so usually when prophets are having these visions, they say, oh, I'm taken up on a very high mountain, or like I'm up in the heavens, right, looking down. And it's like, so they're seeing these things, and like you think back then, like they didn't know what these countries looked like. They didn't know what these continents looked like from up above, right? No one has seen it before, but obviously we've seen it through being up in space and whatnot, right? So it's like he was seeing it and he was like, okay, uh this freaking whatever, this country has this power that's basically taking over the world, right? And he's like, it looks like a dragon, so I'm just going to call it a dragon because I don't know what else to call it. Obviously, it wasn't called the United States of America back then, right? So it's like he's not going to say, "Oh, the United States of America," blah, blah. You know, he's saying, "Oh, it's a dragon," and he, as you can see, like here's its head, right? Here's the wings, right? Like the little feet and the tail, or this could be the tail and the feet, right? So it's like you kind of have to have an imagination here, right? You kind of have to have, because it's like what how is this primitive man from 2000 years ago going to understand what this thing is? So he says it's a beast rising out of the sea, which we're surrounded by the sea, okay, and it's this dragon looking thing, and it's kind of looks like a dragon, right? You gotta admit it kind of looks like a dragon. Okay, so that's all I'm saying. Like here's the wings, the dragon head, right? Anyways, I just that's the way my mind works. Okay, I might be wrong, but like I don't think it's an actual freaking dragon. Like there's no such thing as a dragon, right? Like is the Bible just full of fantasy stories and such? Like what's the deal with that, right? So that's the way I think, right? Um, so this is another thing. I'm gonna show you this little video here because it's kind of interesting to me. How like you know how we think, oh, Bitcoin is not gonna like no one's gonna ever gonna use Bitcoin, but like here is a clip of um when credit cards were. You remember, or were you alive back then when like credit cards started becoming a thing? You know, 'cause before that was just people were paying with cash, but now it's like credit cards were becoming the norm, and people back then you'll see their reactions, which I think is going to happen in our time, where it's like, are people actually going to use Bitcoin? Like I think eventually, within a couple generations, people using Bitcoin, that will be like, oh, like just like every other generation, it's like, oh, you guys never used it. Like that's so weird not to use Bitcoin. It's kind of the way we think about, oh, that's weird not to use a credit card, right? So like, there's always a progression. Change is always going to happen. So I'm just going to play this clip and play quiet and go quiet for a second.
All right, let me see. What will it be?
We're here to go.
Uh,
Would you like ketchup on that?
well,
Large or small fry?
Cash or credit?
What?
the home of the Whopper is offering cash or credit.
I think it's pretty bad if you have to use a credit card when you go to a fast food restaurant for something as little as $3.10.
If I use my GM card and I get a 5% rebate, if I eat here long enough, I'll be able to buy a pickup truck.
Burger King bosses say workers won't have to figure out how much change the customer gets back.
I just hope it doesn't slow things down at the cash and carry, that people are going to be having to call New York and get the confirmation or whatever it is. Because when I want a Whopper, I want it now.
Just another way to spend money. I'm sure it'll work for people on vacation when they don't have to do something, but I can't imagine it working on a day-to-day basis here.
So far, the smallest credit has been for $2.50. The largest, just over 10. Jamie Costello, News Channel 2.
Pretty interesting, right? So that's why I think it will be like this, but for Bitcoin. And I'm going to try to get through these as quick as possible because, yeah. Just some more personal beliefs of mine. You don't have to believe these things, but I think it's interesting to think about. I think of the universe as being alive, and like the planets, an NPC would just be like, oh, it's just a rock floating in space. But I personally believe that these things are alive and are super intelligent. All the planets are, especially the sun. And I believe the sun is a sort of a manifestation of the glory of God. Like when they always talk about the glory of God, it's like it's so bright you can't look at it, right? Same with the sun. It's so bright. If you look at it, you're going to go blind, right? And the sun creates all life here. Without the sun, the planets be would be literal rocks floating through space. We'd just all be like asteroids and eventually fall into a black hole or something. So it's like the sun keeps everything organized, keeps everything running. I think of it as like, you could think of it as like sort of a manager of God, is the general manager, one of the GMs of God. And so it is certainly a manifestation of the power and glory that God is emanating. Like I said, proof of God, man. Everything we believe is chaotic is actually not chaotic. We eventually figure out that everything has an order to it, and it's almost, it is miraculous, but as you can see, we're all following the sun in its path. And I believe we're all traveling with the sun is pulling us along. We're traveling to the center. We're all trying to get to the center. Okay. It's on like that TV show Westworld, where it's like the guy's trying to figure out the maze to get to the center of the maze. It's like we're all trying to get close. The center is the closest to God. And so when we're all spinning, everything's spinning, we all eventually coalesce into the center, right? We all become one with God once again. Um, Another thing, the kingdom of God is within you, right? That's Christ's words. Kingdom of God is within you. Interesting, right? God's brain. Is it the universe? That's how he thinks. Are we a spitting image of God, like it says in Genesis? I believe so, right? So we're all just fractals of God. We're all just like mini gods. We're all a fractal of it, of the glory of God. Everything's a fractal. Look at all the plants, all the nature and the universe. It's all just fractals of God. Um, Another good imagery of craziness, that is the sun. This is how many Earths could fit in the sun. So if we had no concept of like a religion, if we never had the Bible, or like there was no spiritual text or anything, for primitive, like back in the day, they said, oh, people used to worship the sun. I think it's like there's a good reason why they did. Okay. Because obviously this thing's pretty godly. If you were to take away any personal belief or any notion of some kind of person that's up there, like, this would be God. This would be like the first concept of a God, where you're like, oh, there's that thing up there that whenever it's around, I'm warm and I'm happy, and I could see, and brings me light and warmth, and it makes my crops grow, and it makes all life grow. And it's like, okay, like, and it helps, steer the weather and all that stuff. Like, whenever the sun's here, I'm happy, I'm safe. There's no crazy creatures in the night. Like, when it's gone, I'm not safe anymore. It's dark out, like it's cold. The weather's bad. There's creatures that come out in the night when the sun's not there, and they attack me. So it's like, if you put yourself in those people's shoes, you're like, wow, like that's actually a good argument for the sun being God, because it's like, without it, there wouldn't be any life. So literally, the sun is giving life and light to the world. Just what Christ said. Christ said, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. Christ is the light. So is Christ saying he is a sort of a byproduct of the sun? I mean, we all are, right? We all have the stardust inside of us, the elements that make up the sun. They're all inside of us as well, right? So, interesting things to think about. How long can the truth be hid? Can one hide the sun for long? What's one common thing between religion and science? Belief in higher powers, right? It's kind of funny. Everyone thinks like religion and science are like butting heads, but like I honestly think that they should be shaking hands because they're both trying to prove the same thing, right? Science just has a different methodology to figuring out the truth than religion. Religion's more not so open minded and kind of more I think it's less humble than science because it's like people are just believing in magic basically when science is kind of discovering that it's not really magic, it's just the laws of the universe working. Um just a cool image of the sun. Behold, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Okay. Just like Thoth in the Egyptian time says, know thyself, right? When you know thyself, you know the kingdom of heaven is within you. What does that mean? What does that truly mean? Okay. What does it mean to be the light? What does it mean to be a part of this higher power? What kind of power then do you have inside of you? Do you have the power to change timelines? Do you have the power to pray with such faith that it moves a mountain? Ignorance is inherently entropic. It expends more energy than it can produce. This is why the truth will always win. All right. You ever like feel anger and stuff inside of you? It's like, for me personally, when I'm always get angry or whatever, I'm really tired. I have to like take a nap after that because it's like you expend so much energy. It's the same with like lying or ignorance. It's like you have to really expend a lot of energy to keep up a lie, right? They have to keep making up new lies to hide that lie and hide that other lies you just lied about. And it's like it's a constant thing where the truth is like the truth could just lay hidden for thousands, millions of years. And then when you discover it, it's like truth is like, yeah, I was here the whole time chilling. Like I don't have to do anything, man, to for the truth to be revealed. Like I could just sit here forever until you find me. Like I'm here, like I'm chilling, you know. Where lie will be have to keep you have to keep exponentially producing more energy. That's why eventually all these lies that have been going around from the government and all this stuff, eventually it will all come crashing down because they can't keep up the act for much longer. Uh, just another just more hypocrisy. I always like to point out their hypocrisy of these people because then that's how you know that they're demons. 'Cause where does hypocrites go? They go to hell, right? Yeah, just more. It's just see, I keep saying if you follow me on Twitter, I say they're not repenting, just like in the book of Revelation. These people that were asking you, they were wanting the unvaccinated to die and like all this stuff. They wanted terrible things to happen, right? Here's the karma coming back, right? Every action, there's opposite and equal reaction. So these people, these are just some examples. There's literally thousands of these examples for these people that were using hate, expending energy of hate and all this stuff. Eventually it caught up to them because they did not repent. They did not recant what they were saying. They eventually they they find out, you know. Same thing, right? It's all this hypocrisy going on. It's just crazy, right? Like eventually the truth is going to happen where it's like this kind of stuff it fought like these people are destroying themselves, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like we don't have to worry about these things that these people are doing. It's just like the Ouroboros. You know what that is? Like the snake eating its own tail. These people are just eating themselves. We don't have to worry about it. Just like Sun Tzu in The Art of War said, do not stop the enemy from destroying itself. Okay. The enemy is destroying itself. They there is like a giant conspiracy, but it's like they the problem with their philosophy is that they always want to be in control. They always want to be the ones in power. So eventually they end up backstabbing each other. They end up eating themselves, whereas the ones like the people with the truth inside them, we're just chilling, just where I'm chilling here. You guys could destroy yourselves, man. We don't have to do anything. You guys all took the vax. So it's like you all are destroying yourselves. Y'all not gonna have future children and stuff. Who inherits the king? Who inherits the earth? It's the meek, right? The people that were humble and that didn't take the mark and all that stuff, right? So we inherit the earth. These people die out. The end. We win, right? So don't even worry about what they're doing. I don't even, it doesn't even matter. These are just fun little things that I like to pick up because these people are just, they're destroying themselves, man. We don't even have to do anything. Yeah. Duh, obviously, all the truth is coming out, right? We don't even have to try. Truth is coming out, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. 8-year-old, this guy, he was vaxxed 4 doses. This guy was huge during that whole time, the COVID times, and he died of a heart attack. Okay, it sucks that it's happening, but like if you follow the signs, if you remain faithful, like these things wouldn't be happening. So it's like this whole karma thing is coming back tenfold. This is a Bitcoin. So there's BTC and then there's BSV. The one when I talk about Bitcoin, I'm talking about BSV. Look that up. Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. That's the one Craig Wright is running. Because these people the people in BTC have lost their mind. Okay. They're all corrupt. They all basically turn into demons, just like these people, right? It's the same cycle playing over and over again, right? It's the same freaking same thing going on, right? We all just follow the cycles over and over and over again. We never learn. It's just the same things over. But like I said, these people just destroy themselves. Like what happened to these people? They were destroyed. They wander around the wilderness forever, right? We don't have to be those people. Everything spins, okay? We're all spinning around. I just like to find things that with these kind of things. Like I love it's just if you follow my Twitter, it's like I constantly post these things about how everything spins because it has to do with the Fibonacci sequence. Which if you follow along my work, you know why that was important. See, it's just it's like everything is like it's like almost worshiping the spin, the spiral. That's why you see the spiral imagery and like pretty much 99% of all movies and TV shows and all that stuff. It's like you'll start to notice it more when you like put that in the front of your mind of like what's going on and you start to see the patterns, pattern recognition, right? It's all about pattern recognition. And it's like everyone's just spinning around. We're all just spinning and it's like it's almost like there's a power behind it. There's something about it. I think that's going to be the concept that's going to be used to make it into outer space to travel the galaxies. Something about the spin. We have to create a technology that spins, so then we can break through, right? just more stuff, man, that I find interesting of how people created a time lapse of the sky stabilized, shows the Earth is spinning through space. Okay, and remember, guys. Okay, if you're flat earthers or whatever, please open your minds. Okay, God is limitless. God is there. There's no end to the worlds that He has created. There's no end to this universe. Okay, and the truth is there. It's very easy to see. Okay, these are just some small examples, but like I think it's beautiful. And remember the concept of like, oh, like no one's upside down. Like there's no concept of up and down in space, okay? Because it enters in the 4D density where they're like the concepts of up and down don't exist. Okay. We're born by Fibonacci but live by pi. Okay. Something to think about, guys. What does that mean? What does that mean? To me, it's like we are this is the power behind us, right? This is what every living creature follows. Pi is more of the chaotic part of our lives, where it's like seemingly random numbers, but I don't think they're random at all. Because if you look at this, this is the visualization of pi being irrational, what we call irrational. But does this look irrational at all? Does this look irrational? This is the flower of life. Everything is following the symbol of life. Okay, why is like what it's doing here? Nothing is chaotic at all. God is always in control of everything, even though it seems like everything's just random. It's not. This is the mathematical equation of pi being put into an algorithm where it's constantly recreating the same flower of life symbol, right? The same spins, the torus, everything. It's all connected together. Okay, the sphere. Okay, nothing's random. Nothing is chaotic. Everything's a miracle. This life is a miracle. There's proof of God is in literally everything. His name is in everything. Okay. And it can all be explained and revealed. The truth will be revealed. More proof of God. This is just another molecule, right? Flower of life. Okay. Everything. All levels of creation are all praising the Creator and His work and the glory, right? It's all the glory of God. Everyone's praising that power, praising the glory. It's all there, man. You can zoom in or zoom out to any part of creation, and you will find these same patterns, and they're all proofs of God. They want you to constantly pick a side. Anything that divides us makes them stronger. Resist. Okay. I don't pick sides anymore. I'm not on the blue or the red side. I'm on one side, which is God's side. Okay. I'm about progress. I'm about truth. Truth is God's side. Follow the truth. Okay. That's all that matters. Truth is God. Truth is Christ. What did Christ say? The truth shall set you free. Any side of war is a side with the devil. Okay. End of story. Period. That's it. I'm not pro-war at any time. They have all the money for war, but none for peace. Right? Crazy what would happen if money was actually used for peace instead of war. Crazy how many trillions of dollars we've spent on war throughout these past few decades, right? How crazy would our world look if we actually use that money to build, to create, right? To advance, to progress, right? The war is to set up for the two witnesses appear. We shall see. Prophecy. Yeah. It's just more. It's all signs and symbols, man. The bird freaking takes down the flag because obviously Israel is not following. It's gone out of the way, right? They need to repent again. Y'all are asking the wrong questions. What you should be asking is, what is the name of God? Look at my videos if you want to know. This one, proof of God found in literally everything. I will reveal the name eventually. 144,000 divided by 2024 equals 832. 832. This is the new song that we shall sing in rapture. 832 is a frequency. Frequency is a tune. It's a harmonic that we will be tuned to if you have the name of God in your forehead, if you have the love inside of you. And we shall all sing a new song. Okay, not a literal song. We're not singing just Justin Bieber here. Okay, it's not a literal like man-made song. It's a frequency. Okay, you got to think beyond what the words are saying, or what the words are. Right? It's all coming together. Right? As the NPC would think, oh, it's just all a coincidence. It's more. More crazy stuff, man. Yeah, obviously demon, right? Eighth beast has been activated. So Netanyahu came back into power, which is literally insane. Because when he stopped being the prime minister, I was like, oh man, I got it wrong. Because my eighth beast video, the eighth beast of Revelation, is all about him being the eighth beast. And I was like, oh man, I got it wrong because he's not in power anymore. But he came back to power, which is insane. The other guy basically resigned, and so he went back into power, which is so crazy because that now the prophecy is fulfilled 100%. Just more stuff, man. I don't want to beat this dead horse any longer. Just man, if you guys are still on the Trump train or whatever, dude, like I don't even know. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, to be honest. If you guys are still on it, good for you. I don't care anymore. Like obviously I'm not gonna change your mind about it. Do what you want to do, okay? But the signs are there, all right? The signs are there. It is not enough to believe, you must know. It really isn't. The third level is about believing. Fourth, fifth, sixth is about knowing. You have to know. It's not enough. And if you don't know yet, then you haven't done your research. Just more stuff, man. I never really got into this, but I was actually going to make a video of the Catholic Church being the mother of all harlots. Mother of harlots is a it's saying how they've fornicated with all the countries on earth. Like they've all you could look through their history of how they've allied themselves with every government power and blah blah blah, and every religion has branched off from the Catholic Church. Okay, so it means the mother of harlots, meaning it's like the source of all this idolatry and all the false religions and things like that. And it's all they've been in bed with every government, like ever. Yeah, gay orgy, man. Yeah, this happens all the time. so like I said, they're in bed with all the corrupt governments throughout history. If you want to go into that rabbit hole, be my guest. The nothing. Black holes, man. This is you don't want to get sucked like the opposite of the black hole is the sun. So like it's either you go to the sun and you get cleansed from your sin, right? Or if you're the son of perdition, you get sent to the black hole, which is nothing. It's basically you're deleted. You are not saved. Your character is not saved. You become deleted. It's like you get put in the recycle bin and then you get emptied. Okay, you no longer exist. You don't want to end up there. Mark in their forehead. This is seen much more evidence of spike protein prion disease of the brain alongside the spike triggering microclotting. This would explain the cognitive, intellectual, memory changes, apathy, and aggression I am witnessing in these people, right? I generally believe we are in an epidemic of prion premature dementia disorders. Yeah. Marks in their forehead. Okay. Just another crazy coincidence, as NPC would say. This new movie, I think it was on, I forget, it's on one of like Netflix or something. Might be on Amazon Prime, but it's a really weird movie, a Judge Apatow movie, where they talk about September 23rd, and this weird like thing came from out of the sky, and it happened on that day on September 23rd, and so they're commemorating. It's actually a weird movie, but the movie actually has a lot of symbolism in it that's pointing to September 23 of what I talk about in my videos. Another coincidence, as the NPC would say. If you watch this movie, the 12 Monkeys, it's actually a really good TV show. I really enjoyed it. I watched the whole thing, and September 23 is another big date in the movie. And the movie's about obviously people traveling from the future, and they're trying to stop a disease from changing the world, right? Just more stuff, man. More prophecies being fulfilled. This is the United Nations beast that's in front of it. Obviously, they're all, and the dragon gives the United States gives power to this beast, which the U.S. gives a lot of power to the United Nations. Only a demon wants to resist becoming a son of God. When I talk about like us being sons and daughters of God, a lot of people, I get a lot of pushback for some reason, and it's only because only a demon wants to resist becoming a son of God. All right. If you're resisting that, then maybe you need to know thyself a little more. You need to do a little more research on who you are. When you have God's name written in your forehead, every prayer becomes a miracle where your faith can literally move mountains. I know this is true because it's happened to me hundreds of times. So power prayer is crazy. And I'm trying to get through these quick because as you can tell, I'm losing my voice here. They will never repent. He still brags about COVID. He still brags about the facts. Like it's so obvious at this point. If you don't see it yet, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. Watch my videos on Trump. It's got a lot of good information on it. Okay. He will never repent. He said himself he will never repent because he never thinks he does anything wrong. So I don't think he has the concept of what's right and wrong. No discernment, right? And if you like him, you probably don't have discernment yourself. Nature is full of genius, full of divinity, that not a snowflake escapes its fashioning hand. They say there's no snowflake that is identical to another snowflake. So it's just as you can see, God is limitless. God is forever. God is eternal. All his creations are eternal and limitless and endless. Mark of the beast. Yep. Eliminate the soul with medicine. Rudolf Steiner. All right. He predicted that this would happen. With such a vaccine, you can easily make the etheric body loose in the physical body. That's what I've been talking about. Once the etheric body is detached, the relationship between the universe and the etheric body would become extremely unstable, and a man would become an automaton, aka an NPC. For the physical body of man must be polished on this earth by spiritual will. That's what I'm saying. The rapture is you either get raptured to a new timeline or your soul gets extinguished and you're just left as a automaton, an NPC, just someone without a soul, basically living on this earth in the crappy timeline. Do you have magic hands? How do you think Christ was able to heal? We all have the potential to have this healing power. We just have to access it. It's all there, available. There's been many miracles where I've been able to help heal, and it's only through the power that the light Christ gives us is that we're able to do these things. Again, these there is no such thing as coincidences. The NPCs have it wrong. Yin yang. It's I think it's a religious concept, but it's actually a scientific concept. Like I said, religion and science should be shaking hands and working together. If we did, we would skyrocket to the next evolution of our species. Like I said, man, you can follow these kind of people, these influencers and stuff that like, oh yeah, research all these things. And okay, I did research all these things, okay, but like none of it matters. None of it matters. Only the elect matter. Only the ones who will sing the new song that have the name of God marked in their foreheads. Okay, that's what you should be researching. That should be your primary thing, because that is how you know thyself. That's how you become a son of God. That's how you know you're the son of God. Okay. Okay, I think I'm getting too thick.
I think it's
I don't know if we want to just end this. I don't have time to go next for my next live session. I went over part 1 and part 2 of Edward Riordan's videos about what I'm trying to describe, what he's describing happening this year, which I predicted was going to happen too, and a lot of it is aligning with what the concept of the rapture is. So I don't have time today, but this will be my next live video. Maybe not a live, maybe I'll just record it, not do the live because it's hard to find time to do a live, but I will be talking about these next videos that he has put out on the subject, which are very, very, very interesting. I'm just gonna leave this with you guys, this little snippet. This is a man named Jack Liu. He's a big Bitcoin supporter. He's been for a long time, and he has, I believe he's living in the future. He's one of these people that are here to help the human race accelerate, help us evolve. And so he talks. It's a 4-minute video, so it's really short. I'm going to leave this with you guys as a closing part of my video, because because what I think he says is really interesting, and I hope you guys will start doing your research on yourself, and also Bitcoin SV. It's Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. I think once this trial is over, it's gonna really start becoming more mainstream. People start picking it up, learning about it. So I'm telling you right now, the future is Bitcoin. So if you want to be a part of that future, then I would definitely do your research and maybe get some. It's not financial advice, but if you guys have been following me, I am telling you as a hint of what the future is going to be. And if I've been 99% correct in my predictions of the future, and if I'm correct about this, you're going to want some Bitcoin SV. Right now, it's sitting around about like $78. So relatively cheap compared to the 40, was it like 45, 6,000 or something of the other Bitcoin, which I don't believe is the real Bitcoin. So not financial advice, but my prediction, it might be worth looking into if you want to do your own research. But here's a little snippet of him talking about what the future, if Bitcoin was the future, what it would be like.
I think it's going to be when you can use Bitcoin again for super microtransactions. And they realize that if they use Bitcoin, they make money all the time.
And what would they be being paid for?
They would be just living their life the way they do today. Just living their life the way they do today. Just living their life the way they do today.
I think the entire world population is excluded from the financial system, from an optimized financial system. As in, every single person on the planet, from Bill Gates all the way down to the poorest person, cannot make, as Dean said, a under 30-cent transaction in a realistic time with a realistic. So we are all missing from experience. So you as a builder on Bitcoin SV need to be thinking about what is a special experience you can build on top of Bitcoin that can make every single person in the world want to use that. The more the chain scales, the cheaper the transactions, the faster the transactions, the more it should open up the possibilities of creativity beyond even what Ethereum was able to deliver. Because if I have a token idea that needs 1 cent transactions, Ethereum doesn't offer me that. So there's this kind of unseen creativity that cannot be visible on the Ethereum network that should be surfacing on the BSV network. And you don't see that because we're not challenging people to be as creative as you can. When they do that, they're not the ones featured in our community. They're not the ones talked about. We have this kind of historical leadership complex.
And so every app should be a Bitcoin app. Every app needs to be a Bitcoin app. But don't kid yourselves. That does not mean every app will be a Bitcoin app. For that to be true, it's not because we hold Bitcoin. It's not because we understand the promise of Bitcoin. It has to be easier to build a Bitcoin app than to build any other app. And that bug is that the internet is missing micropayments. You think, okay, but I use my credit card, I buy things online, who cares? No, you should care because every single minute, every single second, every interaction you spend online should have a micropayment occurring.
And I think this will bring in a lot of new types of artists, I would say. Artist developers, artist designers who are going to enter the technology field. So if we can mobilize all the creativity out there in the world, who maybe don't have some of those trades or don't want to deal with that, the person who's starting a coffee shop these days, if those people can understand that they can create niche applications, they're going to be excited. Today they can't because a social network constructed of a particular subset of the population can't compete head on with a Facebook and Instagram. But if we all share the data, and the data is all controlled by the user on the blockchain, actually being niche, being different is going to be valued. And that's just going to make the internet so much more interesting. Who wants to every day always go to Facebook.com, Instagram.com, Google.com for the last 20 years? I want to see the renaissance happening on the blockchain. And that's why we need to scale. That's why it's not so obvious. Because no single project is going to take on the Goliath. But if we can see the blossoming of that, I'm sure 10 years from now, people will say this was worth it. It's incredibly exciting about the Bitcoin future that I'm looking forward to and my team is looking forward to. And that is that fundamentally we'll be able to live a different life. This is about living different. This is not about living the same life, but with hodling and getting some more money. Bitcoin has the potential to transform our life, and we hope Relay X can bring you along to that future together. Thank you so much.
So that was a really short. Maybe next time I'll talk more about it, but that's just a little snippet of what's gonna happen. Hey guys, so thank you all for joining my live session today. Hopefully I'll find some more time to do it again. Thanks, Jaded Empath, Outside Four Walls, Cryptocurrency 33, Infinite Fractal, 2020 website, Dave, Holy Diver, and Cassandra. Thank you for chatting, for sending a chat. Yeah, I think Bitcoin, not the BTC version, that is, to me, it's just it's a Ponzi scheme, because it's like the whole concept of Bitcoin was to use Bitcoin in place of cash, right? It's a peer-to-peer electronic cash, but like BTC is all about, hey, hopefully people will buy Bitcoin so the price goes up, so then I could sell it back for fiat cash. And it's like that. What's the point if you're just gonna sell it, to make money, to make fiat, right? So what Bitcoin SV is doing is opening up the world in its creativity, where anyone could jump on. And we've been seeing this happening, where you can create a $1 billion idea overnight, and it could become a $1 billion economy with whatever idea you could create, because everyone is connected, and and everything's instant, and everything is working 24/7, right? Like all these, the old way of doing things would be like investing in these companies, and hopefully hopefully Android could beat iPhone, and take 2% of the market share from iPhone. And hopefully, if I'm investing in Apple, then hopefully Apple can take, a few percentage away from Microsoft, and blah blah blah. It's like everyone's working against each other. But like in the Bitcoin economy, it would be, hey, how can I work with this other developer, or how can I work with this one application? So then, if we're all on the Bitcoin network, that we all want the Bitcoin value to grow, right? So we're all part of the same company. It's almost like one Bitcoin is, it's like you're investing in the future, because you're investing in the millions of companies in the future that are all going to be building on Bitcoin, right? So it's like the old way is you put $1 in a company stock, you get a stock back, right? But you put $1 in Bitcoin, you're investing in, if this lasts, if it does what it's supposed to do and it lasts for 1,000 years, that $1 is invested in the next 1,000 years of human potential and human creativity, where everyone's building upon Bitcoin, and everything is working instantaneously. The potential is insane, and it's limitless, and in our minds right now cannot even comprehend what that future is going to look like. But just, oh man, just imagine. And the way this guy, his name Jack Liu, that you just saw on the screen talking about Bitcoin, he said, this is like years ago, this video is like 2 years old, right? But the things he's been saying now, he's saying, because Bitcoin SV, it's the concept of having unlimited size blocks every 10 minutes. So the way he interprets that as is that the human creative potential every 10 minutes can be unleashed. So every idea, every transaction could be up on the blockchain where it's just keeps growing and growing and growing, and things will happen instantaneously. It would be like you never have to worry about having a, oh, I have the Google phone or I have the Apple phone or blah blah blah. It's like it will all be, I'm just on the Bitcoin network, and it's more like the companies will cater to you rather than you have to cater to these companies, where it's like, oh, I have an iPhone, so I can't freaking send a video to an Android and stuff like that. Everything will work better together. Anyways, thanks guys again. Hope you guys have a good day. It's now 2:39, so 9:23, right? Good time to end. Love you guys. Hopefully I'll be able to have another video soon. Take care, and if you have any questions, you can DM me on Twitter, X at FutureMan19. All right, thanks guys.